This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Grant Hall with us today. Grant, golf movies, obviously. Caddyshack for me, top of the list. Is there a golf movie that you think supersedes that one?
No, I think that has to be it. I managed to watch it every time it comes on.
Yeah, I've introduced that movie to my son. I think it was a couple weeks ago. No, 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually, because the kid gets home from camp today. I haven't seen him in 3.5 weeks. You know what it's like. You go, both you, Clay. You guys have you've grown men. These people end up growing quite a bit once you get 3.5 weeks at the age of 12. I can't imagine what the kid's going to look like today.
Yeah, we had about 10 in our family at a Naturals game about 10, 11 days ago, and I was actually Caden Wallace bobblehead night, and I got a bobblehead, but Caden Wallace is still out with an oblique for maybe a week or so more, I think, maybe a little bit longer. But also, the oblique is the same thing that's been bothering Lars Nootbaar, and I've actually watched him the last couple of nights, Phil, playing for Springfield. And the first night, he struck out the first 3 times and then had a 4-pitch walk. And then last night, he went 2 for 5, hit a Oppo ground rule double to the 327 sign out there in left field, and then got a single and also hit another ball hard. And it's really interesting. I've been watching him before the game and kind of trying to watch everything he does. And what's interesting about it is that he interacts really well with the players on his team as if he were a minor leaguer also. And even like last night, he was talking to the guys in the bullpen from the Naturals. I think he might have known one of them, and he was talking to them between pitches. And, he tosses the ball to kids after the inning, and he's just he's an interesting personality.
Well, I love it when you see, and it's not the case with every major leaguer that's down on rehab, but most of them do handle it that way. They understand that they're in a much different situation. They're the ones that are being looked up to. If you're a they're going to look up to you. That everybody points out, they're going to buy the spread. They're going to make sure that the guys are taken care of while they're there. But it's the other moments I think that stand out the most, and it's good to hear that Nootbaar is a player like that.
Yeah, when Adam Wainwright was here a few years ago, he raved about Wright's barbecue. And I think, and you're right, he did buy food for everybody on the team.
Well, that's expected.
The greatest, this is Clay, Grant, the greatest rehab return that I think Fernando Valenzuela pitched in Little Rock.
That was for the biggest crowd they ever had at Ray Winder. I remember this. I wasn't there for it. This was 1990. I think he was with the Angels. He was the doubleheader, right? It was a doubleheader on Saturday, and it was Pepsi night. So that means free tickets, wherever they sold Pepsi. So out of the 11,000 people that Bill Valentine said was there, I don't think one of them paid for a seat.
Oh, I'd say maybe 300. They were season ticket holders, but they got a discount on those too.
And then they were all gone for the second game because they just were there to see Fernando pitch.
Yeah, and Fernando mania was real. I saw him in the '85 World Series in St. Louis, and he had a retinue following him, and people were, they were going gaga over his wife and all this stuff. But he was quite the sensation for a while.
Man, I mean, you wonder about a guy like that, and he pitched into his 40s in the Mexican League. He's like a Julio Franco. Guys that you're literally going to have to rip the baseball out of his hand, either that or cut his legs off. But Fernando, that's a guy with, thinking like Dwight Gooden. Think about how dominant they were at a certain point in their careers. And then you look all these years later, and neither of them have a case to make the Hall of Fame. Gooden for different reasons than Fernando. I think Fernando is just like, he was one of the last true workhorses.
Yeah.
You'll never forget, if you saw him pitch, he rocked back on the mound. His eyes went up through the top of his eyelids, and his head, you could see, under the bill of his cap, and then he came down, and by then you were messed up.
Well, and
it's like he was reading his cap or something.
Yep. Well, now we know what it is. All they told us exactly what he was doing when Bull Durham came out. Now we all, since then we all know what he was doing. He was breathing out of his eyelids. You just have to make sure that the left one is not clogged up.
Hey, and I got to tell you, after the game last night, I went to the amp because Sarah McLachlan was singing, and I didn't buy a ticket, but stood outside there. There's a little wall on I did the same thing for Ringo Starr one time, and you can hear perfectly, and you could actually see the screen, you know. And I got to hear her for about an hour. And, of course, In the Arms of the Angel was the second and final encore. So that was kind of a bonus to last night.
Okay, Grant, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
I mean, have you bought a ticket for anything?
Oh, yeah. Those are the only 2 times out of probably 35 or 40 trips to the AMP that I haven't paid full value.
Well, it's only going to be a short period. Watch out now that the word is out. They're going to make sure nobody can gather over on that.
No, because I asked and they said it's okay. Usually there are a lot of people doing that, but last night there were just a few of us. But Saturday the Doobie Brothers are coming, so I'm kind of trying to decide. You know, you can get those lawn seats where that aren't too expensive, or you can go for the.
This is what I think, though, Clay and Grant. If the Doobie Brothers are at the AMP, Sam Pittman's probably going to be at the AMP. Like, if you ask him with the first, the whole jukebox thing, first song you're playing on the jukebox, I'm going to tell you, he's either playing the Doobie Brothers or he's playing Fleetwood Mac. It's one of those two. Coach Pittman's going to be there.
He's
got
he manages several George Strait albums on that jukebox, 'cause I've seen them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Hey, you mentioned about, how you were watching some of Sarah McLachlan's concert. And I'm just sort of picturing, it's like I was at a Travelers game last night, and, you don't have to buy a ticket. You can stand past the left field gate and watch everything if you really want to. And I think about where I sit or stand for Arkansas football games in the booth behind Chuck as I'm pointing out, and I can see the famous notch in the stadium, in which you can't see the whole football field now. But paint the picture for me when the notch was actually a place where you could watch the game from, and how many people would gather back there to watch?
Oh, I think, Clay, there were probably several hundred at one time. Now, I don't think back there you can see as much as you could used to at one time. But, I'll go all the way back to when there was a sort of grassy area at the north end of Razorback, before the north end building was there, Clay, and a lot of people. I'm glad
you didn't call it a grassy knoll.
Yeah, in fact, I thought of that term and decided not to use it. So, yeah. But, like during red-white games, we'd have a better game going on just past the end zone than sometimes was on the field.
Well, so I've seen people sitting up on the grass by the administration building. I mean, you can see from up there the little picnics,
right.
Have blankets, but not so much anymore.
I've seen a couple of photos that I think are really cool. You know this one, too. This is from the 1960 World Series in Pittsburgh at Forbes Field, and it's the tallest classroom building in I think it's the Western Hemisphere. The Cathedral of Learning, a building that I've been in many, many times. And there's a photo, I think it was in Life magazine, from just above these fans that are on the top floor watching the World Series game from, 75 stories up. And I saw one from Dodger Stadium from the 70s, I think it was. And there, you got the San Gabriel Mountains back there and everything. And there's some dirt parking lot where people would park, and they literally would have an electric generator, and they would run a television with rabbit ears and pick up the telecast of the game while they were sitting there, a quarter of a mile away watching the game from afar. These are I love the visions that these give. It's like people love these sports so much, they'll watch it from a quarter mile away just to think that they're a part of it.
Well, I remember one time the Caltech kids jammed the scoreboard during the Rose Bowl. Do you remember that, Clay? And
nope.
That was kind of fun. Well, I want to mention tonight is the largest fireworks show in Northwest Arkansas, apparently after the Naturals game. And, Phil, I saw that Greg Kessinger is back with the Astros, who we saw play in college, for Ole Miss, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Comes from
and then
family.
A friend of mine told me this morning that Brooke Matthews, who is from Rogers and who played on the LPGA Tour before going down to the Epsom Tour, is actually in 7th place on that tour this year. And I think the top 15 go back up to the LPGA. So I imagine she'll be playing in the one at Pinnacle, the Walmart tournament this year also.
Hey, I did see where Simmons Bank announced about the Simmons Bank Champions tournament, part of the Champions Tour in October. Pleasant Valley. I mean, this really is just down the street from where I live. This is really, this is a big event. I've got to look up the dates exactly, but in October, I'm assuming you'd want to be a part of that. You're going to have a lot of the big names in the Champions Tour.
I like Pleasant Valley. So, Phil, I'm assuming that you're a member of Pleasant Valley since you live so close, right?
Oh yeah, I've always saved up money for country club memberships. I've made that much money for a long time now. Absolutely.
Okay, you're trivia. Grant, you can't answer. What makes Pleasant Valley unique among country clubs in Little Rock?
Oh man, so I wouldn't say it's the only one that's right in the middle of a neighborhood.
No. I'll answer because you won't ever get it. It has 27 holes. It has 3 nines.
See, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That. I wouldn't know that because I've never been a member of a country club.
And they're all three. They're all three terrific. They're unique in their own way.
Clay, one time we were playing there, and I might have been playing with your dad actually. But on the 16th hole, we looked over there, and Tennessee Ernie Ford was on the tee. He just happened to be playing that day. We met him. He could have not have been nicer. So that's my memory from Pleasant Valley.
Yep. I've had to go through my dad's files a lot on Pleasant Valley. Harry King is writing the history of Pleasant Valley, and my dad had a lot of correspondence with Joe Finger, who designed it. I've sent all that stuff to Harry, and the idea that Harry's still writing something inspires me because he's really
I'm glad
old.
I tell you, I never had so much fun in my life as attending the Masters that he went to. And one time we were watching Lucas Glover on the practice area, and he had a beard, and I said to Harry, "What's this homeless person doing here?" And he was laughing so loud I thought we were both going to get thrown out of the place, And Harry would entertain the other, how he is Clay. There were people listening in to what he would say from several rows in the arena, and I miss Harry going to the Masters.
Hey Grant, we're up against it. By the way, it's October 21st through 27th for the Simmons Bank Championship at Pleasant Valley Country Club. Hopefully,
thanks. I write it down.
Yeah, hopefully, Daly and Day and Ken Duke will be there. I'll assume that at least a couple of them will. Hopefully, all three will. Are you down with fireworks, Grant? Before you go, a lot of fireworks shows tonight. The Travelers are hosting one in Little Rock. You said the Naturals have a big one in Fayetteville and Springdale tonight. Are you big on fireworks? Do you go?
Yeah, I like the spectacular ones. There were a couple that you could see from the amp last night, actually. But this one at Arvest tonight, I think, will be pretty good. So that'll be my big one.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.